Good morning. I am in John 8 right now, and I was reading where Jesus had gone to the Feast of Tabernacles, and it says, "At dawn he appeared again in the temple courts, where all the people gathered around him and he sat down to teach them. The teachers of the law and the Pharisees brought in a woman that was caught in adultery. They made her stand before the group and said to Jesus, 'Teacher, this woman was caught in the act of adultery. In the law, Moses commanded us to stone such women. Now what do you say?' They were using these questions as a trap in order to have a basis for accusing him. But Jesus bent down and started to write in the ground with his finger. When they kept on questioning him, he straightened up and said to them, 'Let any one of you who is without sin be the first to throw a stone at her.' Again, he stooped down and wrote on the ground. At this, those who heard began to go away one at a time, the older ones first, until only Jesus was left, with the woman still standing there. Jesus straightened up and asked her, 'Woman, where are they? Has no one condemned you?' 'No one, sir,' she said. And then he replied, 'Then neither do I condemn you,' Jesus declared. 'Go now and leave your life of sin.'" And when I read that last sentence in John 8:11 that said, "Then neither do I condemn you, go now and leave your life of sin," it was like just this bomb dropped on my spirit. And I could feel the Holy Spirit. And I got to thinking, how often do we look at somebody and think, "Oh, what you're doing is so awful. You're horrible. You're so sinful." And I know that I've experienced this in my life with people doing this to me, particularly. So I can be really sensitive to this. I've mentioned a lot that my maternal grandmother was very legalistic, I guess would be the word for it. And there's a joke that me and my mom do, where we'll go, "Bok, bok, going to hell, bok, bok, going to hell." Because it's basically all that I heard from my grandma. And my mom would hear that a lot too. And, we look at scriptures like this, and yes, this person had been caught in sin and they weren't doing the will of God. But Jesus doesn't tell him, "You're going to hell. You're going to be stoned. Let me throw this stone and get you, what you deserve." No, Jesus says, "I don't condemn you. Go and leave your sin. Live the life that you're supposed to." There's so many instances in the Bible where Jesus had every right to cast condemnation and to, show people like, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. And, you need to pay for your sin. But instead of doing that, he just told people, "I'm not going to condemn you. I'm going to be a sacrifice and take the place of you. And I'm going to take the burden off of you." And so many times we have people that, instead of being loved into a relationship with God and getting that reassurance and being shown, okay, you know what? You did sin, and that's not okay to God, but he loves you. He's merciful. He is graceful. He's not going to just knock you down over and over again the way that people in your life have. He's going to love you, and he's going to mercifully show you the correct way. And, there's so many times where our human instinct just kicks in and we're like, "Oh, that's wrong. You need to be condemned for that." But no, that's not what Jesus says. Jesus says to love people. And, you think of the woman at the well, where she'd been married, 5 times, I think? I put my hand up over here like you guys can see that. She'd been married 5 times, and he said, "You're right, and the man that you live with now is not your husband either." And, he spoke to her, even though she was a Samaritan, and was not even supposed to be in communication with him. He spoke to her. He gave her the attention and the mercy that she needed. And then she goes on to become an evangelist for God. The first woman evangelist mentioned in the Bible is the woman at the well. And if Jesus had gone to her and condemned her and just berated her instead of talking to her, showing her that she is a human to him, and giving her the love that she needed, she would have continued in that life of sin. And that's one thing that we work so hard on, is just showing love to others and saying, you know what? Yes, you've sinned. And yes, that's not okay with God. But I'm a sinner too. I've made mistakes in my life. And I've done so many things that I do not deserve mercy or grace for, to be forgiven for. But God. And that's something we just always have to remember. But for the grace of God go I. And, it's so easy to get caught up in life and to just be like, you know what, you know better. Just whatever, you know better. Just don't live in sin anymore. But unless you have that power of the Holy Spirit living in you to guide you and to correct you and to lovingly show you the way, then you're not going to have the correction that you need from that sin. And we have to realize as Christians that baby Christians, people that are new to the faith, that just haven't developed in the faith as well, they're not being guided by that Holy Spirit, and they need that love and that understanding to get there.